Greetings, fellow Americans. Welcome to Fireside Chat, State of Our Nation. I am your host, Susanna Tanner, candidate for Congress 2026 and President 2028. We're going to talk about Trump because he just needs to have all kinds of attention, doesn't he? CNN is reporting that 78% of Americans say they would prefer to end the war now. 22%, just 22% want to hold out for Iran to give up more. This word never should have started in the first place. It is my opinion that Donald Trump entered into this war with Iran to serve Netanyahu, not to serve the United States. And now, these negotiations that have been taking place are continually being disrupted because Netanyahu refuses to quit bombing other areas. These leaders, they're not really showing very good leadership. Now, first, if it had been me, I wouldn't have bombed Iran in the first place. What I would have done is made sure that I had solid evidence that they were producing nuclear weapons, since that seems to be what the issue is, and the reason why Trump decided to bomb Iran. With lack of evidence, lack of solid evidence, especially evidence presented to the public, there's no way to really gauge whether or not that's true, whether it's true or not that Iran has been in fact building nuclear weapons. And the fact is that because of this war, we have seen a serious decline in our economy, not just at the fuel pumps. Everything has gone up because everything takes fuel to transport from one place to another. Iran is one of the biggest exports of oil. That's where that and uranium is a significant portion of their nation's income. It is quite disturbing that an American leader decides to, without provocation, bomb another country, regardless of the reasons. I was absolutely against Russia invading Ukraine. There was no reason for that. Trump is trying to assert dominance, and honestly, it's not working. He, from what I've been reading in articles and seeing on the news, is that even from independent media, is that Donald Trump, is really faltering with this. Now, to clean up his mess, first, all parties need to cease fire. And Iran would need to understand that the United States does not control Israel. Israel is its own nation. And one of the things that we can do to show that we are against this war, against Israel bombing anyone else, is to cease providing them with weapons and cease providing them with funds for weapons. This would seriously reduce the amount of casualties, bombs that are used in a lot of different areas. It would reduce the numbers. We should stop providing Israel with bombs, with any weapons, to continue on their war path. Because even though Hamas started the war with Israel, Netanyahu has continued and expanded the war in the Middle East to include Iran. And Donald Trump decided to join in. Our world is at war. Even if it hasn't been truly declared, our world is at war. We have the power to stop it. A lot of that by removing the leaders that are currently in their positions. Netanyahu, one of them, being from Israel. The people of Israel have all the right and all the power to remove him from office and to cease the destruction that the government of Netanyahu is continuing to enact on others. It's destruction. Regardless of Iran's role in the events of October 7th, the day that Hamas invaded Israel and killed multiple people, regardless of that, Iran and the United States did not have a conflict until Donald Trump decided to bomb them. Cleaning up his mess would look something like ensuring that Iran is in fact not building nuclear weapons, that they are still allowed to refine uranium as it is part of their nation's income. And as I understand it, this was actually part of the agreement that former President Obama was able to sign with them. But I believe that it's important to establish a much better and improved relationship with Iran. There are other things that we can do with Iran as a partner in developing a much better world for all of us. It doesn't involve any kind of violence against the people. And so that is something that I would require that the government of Iran cease. Cease their harm against any of their people. Understand that their people do have a right to speak up. They have a right to say, no, this is not what we want. When leaders actually care for their people, provide for their people, ensure that their people are provided for, leaders tend to stick around a lot longer, or their nation's economies, their nation's people are a lot happier. That's something that it's taken all of us here in the United States to really come to terms with. It's taken a while. We have developed laws and such that prevent us from enacting such harms on others, harms like stoning and hanging. There's a lot of states in the United States that do not have the death penalty. So encouraging Iran to move towards a more enlightened state of being is really what should be encouraged, should be promoted and taught. It might be more difficult with current leadership, but there is always a way. It's a matter of finding that way. On that note, I know that Americans are not happy with Donald Trump. If I had to put our happiness on a scale of 1 to 10, our happiness would probably be at a 2. 10 being happy, the happiest nation. 2 is definitely where I would put us at. Our nation's not very happy, not with any of the leadership that we currently have. That being said, I encourage everyone to vote for those who are actually going to help our nation, not just in how they are presenting their material, but what are they doing for the people? Leading by example. Now, I think it'll be a lot more difficult for leaders like those in Iran and the Middle East to exert such positive leadership skills because it takes practice. It really takes practice. But once they do show that they are willing to provide for the people, that they are willing to ensure that their nations are able to progress, that they refrain from war, that they refrain from instigating violence against others, I think that when that happens, as that's happening, more of us will recognize it, and we will be more willing to negotiate partnerships with other nations that benefit both the nation we are negotiating with and our nation. There are a lot of there are still a lot of people who are filled with violence, and it's very much a struggle to overcome that violence, but it is possible. It's possible now. It's possible with hard work. And our leaders really need to start exerting that control, that leadership that we are looking for. I noticed that there are quite a few people who are not running for office. And I think as a repeat candidate, people like I've heard that Senator Patty Murray is not running for office for Senate this year. I'll double check on that to make sure, but I know that she, for one, has been someone who has been vocal within Congress, within the Senate. And it is people who are vocal, who are willing to say and stand up for the Constitution and enforcing the Constitution, enforcing it. It is those people who are showing that they're trying. It's not necessarily enough, but they are trying. And when we have a Congress that will step up and make sure that the executive branch and the judicial branch are not misinterpreting the Constitution, then I think we will actually be able to get somewhere. Right now, because of the lack of practicality, responsibility, and reasonability in our United States Congress, mostly from the GOP side, some from the Democratic side. Because of that, I think we're stalled. We're seriously stalled. We, the people, are using our voices. We need to continue to use our voices, and we need to get a lot louder. Otherwise, we are not going to see the results that we want. So we, the people, become the enforcers of our Constitution, of our laws. And it's really sad that that has come to this. We shouldn't have to. A lot of people will agree with that. We should not have to do this. We elected people into office to prevent these things from happening, these misinterpretations of the Constitution, the perversion of the Constitution, weaponization of our agencies. We should be able to prevent a president from engaging in war without our consent. We need people in Congress who are actually going to basically put their foot down. So if you, in any area of the United States, if you are looking at your Congress member and you think they are not doing what I believe that they should do, vote them out of office. These is frustrating to even have to deal with any of this for any of us. We want peace in our nation. So we have the 2026 election coming up. Definitely pay attention to those who are running. If neither a Democrat or a Republican seems like they are the best fit, vote independent. Write someone's name in. The representatives that we put into office, they need to do the job we put them in the office for. And I hope that every candidate understands that. That is all I have for today. Thank you for your time, and may our path lead to peace and prosperity.